Welcome to this edition of the Native News Update on this Wednesday, January 5th. I'm your host for today's program, Paul DeMain. Many of the stories read here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com, and here are some of the news stories for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. Connecticut State Police are offering a $25,000 reward for information that leads to the conviction of whoever killed a Groton man found beaten to death in a leadyard field 5 years ago. Anthony Hamlin's naked body was found dead in a horse field by a passing motorist in January of 2006. The medical examiner determined that he had died of blunt force trauma to the head. The 40-year-old Hamlin was a father of 5 who had just landed a new job in Virginia and was killed the day before he was about to move. Hamlin was a member of the Eastern Pictou Tribe. One link to the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe's past and another to its future are gone. Alice Lopez, 49, the tribe's housing department director, passed away unexpectedly at her home this Sunday, while Laurie Green, 91, a former tribal elder and historian, passed away last Wednesday in Newburyport. Both tribal members' deaths will leave holes in the close-knit community, tribal members have said. Lopez grew up in Mashpee and was active her entire life. I guess I look at her as a warrior, Massachusetts Commissioner on Indian Affairs Executive Director Jim Peters, a Mashpee member, said. She had been fighting for tribal rights since she was a kid. She was passionate in her belief that no Wampanoag person should be homeless in their own homeland. Lopez's family wrote in their prepared statement to the press. Green was a connection to the tribe's long past. According to his obituary, Green graduated from high school in 1937 and after serving in the Army during World War II, taught in several schools. As an elder, Green had served on the tribe's board of directors and judiciary committee beginning in the 1970s. Though Green had stepped back for a while from serving within the tribe, Peters said he had recently reconnected and was recounting Wampanoag stories from the early part of the 20th century to other tribal members. IndianCountryTV.com has also received the notice of the passing of Robert Pictou-Branscombe, 63, of Arizona, a Micmac cousin of Annie Mae Pictou Aquash and decorated military veteran from Vietnam, who for several years during the 1990s helped reinvigorate the investigation into the death of his cousin Annie Mae Pictou Aquash. Officials believe he passed away of a heart attack on Christmas evening. In 1999, Branscomb said, "I made a promise to Annie Mae a long time ago, and that promise will be completed. A hero, a warrior, a mother, a cousin, and a friend went down. No one did anything to stop it. They closed their eyes and walked away. Well, starting today, nobody walks. In the spirit of my cousin Annie Mae, signed Robert A. Pictou-Branscombe." On December 7, 1999, Dennis Banks, AIM National Director, distributed a memo through Vernon Belcourt that said the following. Recently, a considerable amount of press activity has been generating surrounding the death of Annie Mae Aquash. This activity is being generated by a man claiming to be a relative of Annie Mae. His name is Robert Branscombe. The man is recklessly accusing AIM leadership of having first-hand knowledge of Annie Mae's death and allegedly having ordered her death. Robert Branscombe must be viewed as a general informant who is very reckless in his actions. All chapter support groups and their members are to look upon this man with scrutiny and to refuse his admittance to any AIM meeting, function, or ceremony. Well, rest in peace, Robert Pictou-Branscombe, and rest in peace, Annie Mae. Navajo Nation President-elect Ben Shelly and Vice President Rex Lee Jim were certified for their respective offices on December 29th by the Navajo Nation Board of Election Supervisors, and they are now preparing to take over their reins of power in Window Rock, Arizona. I'm thankful that the Navajo Nation Board of Election Supervisors certified the results of the recent election, Ben Shelly, President-elect, said. This clears the way for my administration to hit the ground running. The inauguration for the President-elect Ben Shelly and Vice President-elect Rex Lee Jim and the 22nd Navajo Nation Council is scheduled for noon on Tuesday, January 11, 2011, in Window Rock, Arizona. Other elected officials include the Navajo Board of Election Supervisors and the Navajo Nation Board of Education. The ceremony is scheduled to take place at the Dean C. Jackson Arena on the Navajo Nation Fairgrounds. Horse advocates, lawmakers, and Native American leaders are gathered in Las Vegas trying to convince federal officials to embrace horse meat as a legal source of food again. The first summit of the horse is drawing many advocates who say ranchers and horse owners should be allowed to slaughter their animals and revive the nation's shuttered horse processing industry. Congress ended the killing of horses for human consumption in 2007. Slaughter supporters say horse meat is already safely consumed in dozens of countries. Animal rights group plan to protest the summit. An overnight high tide helped refloat a fishing boat that ran aground near Nia Bay in the Olympic Peninsula. The Department of Ecology says the 88-foot commercial vessel was pulled from a beach near Shiprock Point early on Tuesday morning. Officials say there are no reports of any oil spill or discharge, but a floating boom was placed around the boat as a precaution until the Coast Guard inspects it. Ecology, the Coast Guard, and the Makah Tribe responded when the vessel ran aground Monday evening. Governor-elect Mary Fallin has appointed outgoing state Senate leader Glendon Coffee as Oklahoma's Secretary of State. Coffee from Oklahoma City was the first Republican to serve as the Senate's president pro tem and has served in recent weeks as the chairman of Fallin's Transition Committee. In his new role, Coffee will help to advance Fallin's legislative agenda and represent the governor during budget negotiations, as well as performing the statutory duties of the Secretary of State's office. He will also serve as Fallin's liaison to Oklahoma's American Indian tribes. And that is the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. We want to thank you for joining with us and come back again soon. Miigwech.